Hey, this is Mike, and this bonus episode is brought to you by Brink Drones. Brink has created life-saving capabilities in a drone that can break windows, fly into houses and confined spaces, and even crash into things and stay in the air with advanced pilot assistance that does not use GPS. Brink drones are built in the USA. It has night vision and IR that can function in blacked out and zero light conditions. It can flip itself back over, and it's a flying cell phone with two-way communication and a live video feed that can even carry and drop off items for hostage negotiators with the payload feature. Brink has a compelling heritage that came to be after the 1 October mass shooting at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, and they are committed in their mission to leverage technology to save lives. I can tell you firsthand that their drones will do just that by flying into places that are too dangerous to risk human lives. If you work in public safety, your agency needs to see what this drone can do. Go check out Brink Drones at brinkdrones.com, or feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to tell you all about them. Again, that's Brink, BRINC, drones.com.
Welcome to Tactical Tangents.
All right, welcome back to Tactical Tangents. This is Jim. I wanted to give a quick talk about safety. Mike recently gave a talk on what it means to quote-unquote be safe, right? It needs to be more than just something you say to your bros. I want to give you a strategy to employ to help make that a reality. It's called the Swiss cheese model. And this is big right now in commercial flying circles, crew resource management, operational risk management talk about this quite a bit, about how to trap errors, right? So this is just a metaphor. Don't take it too literally, but picture or visualize like a cartoon block of Swiss cheese cut up into slices, right? And it's got those, holes in them. And like any layer of security or safety, there's going to be some holes, right? But the more layers you stack up and the tighter you can make the holes, the better your chances of trapping an error and breaking the chain of events that could lead to a mishap. So that's what we're shooting for here, right? How do we stack up those layers of safety and security? So to give you an example about how this works out, I like to think about the basic gun safety rules. There's different versions of it, but just off the top, you keep your finger off the trigger till you're ready to fire, and you always keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. Those are good examples of layers, right? Do we always perfectly apply those rules? Hopefully you do, but just in case you don't, those rules are set up so even if you mess up one of them, the other one catches the error and protects you, right? If you don't keep your booger hook off the bang switch and you accidentally bump the trigger, at least the gun was pointed in a safe direction so the bullet didn't cause any real damage, right? Similarly, even if you mess up and accidentally swing the gun across something you're going to miss, if your finger was off the trigger, you're probably not going to set the gun off, right? You can see this principle kind of all over the place. One is aviation safety. We train pilots to put the landing gear handle down before they land. It's like a thing that you do as a pilot. But we also have a bunch of layers to make sure that, gosh darn it, the landing gear handle's down, right? There's a checklist. So there's a procedural step to stop and look at the landing gear handle and look at the landing gear indicators and make sure you got 3 good green gear down, right? And then you have a co-pilot, someone else on the crew who also looks and verifies, or the other guy in your formation. The aircraft next to you looks at you and verifies your gears down. You also have the guys in the control tower who are also supposed to look and verify. And even if that fails, there's a technical step, right? Most modern airplanes will start squawking and beeping and talking to you if you put your flaps down and you pull your power back like you're about to land. If your gear's not down, the airplane will be like, hey, dummy, put your gear down. Wop, wop, gear or something, right? So we put a bunch of layers in to help back up pilots understand that pilots are human and they're going to make errors, whether they believe it or not. Similarly, this applies to medical settings. You've probably heard horror stories of people waking up from surgery to find like the wrong arm got amputated. So now, because of that, there's like a triple redundant procedure where the patient, the doc, and other staff all sit and verify which limb is getting worked on. Sometimes they write with a marker like not this one on the other limb. Now that sounds silly, but I've done it. I can handle silly before I can handle waking up with the wrong arm missing, right? One of the key ways you break an error chain is you stop and you take a second to safety. So right as everyone's gearing up for a surgery, the doc should break the momentum and verify, hey, do we have the right patient? Do we have the right site? Do we have the right procedure? In flying, I call that the career check. Right before landing, I stop and I go, hey, the gear's down, we're clear to land. I look at the runway number on the runway and I verify I'm looking at the right airport and the right runway, because that has happened. I know of people who've landed at the wrong whole airport. So you got to kind of break your momentum sometimes to break the error chain. Another good example is home security. You know, we talked about this in previous episodes. We want defense in depth. We want layered security. So how do you do that? Well, you put layers in there. You pick a low crime neighborhood. You light up your driveway. You don't leave attractants like fancy cars or Amazon boxes in sight. You lock your doors. You have an alarm and a dog. You're personally alert. And you have a gun or something like it, right? Now, if you do that right, you should never have to use the gun, because all the other layers either deterred or defeated the bad guy. So if you're in a gunfight in your living room, you probably messed up somewhere. So that's about it. You don't have to go crazy over this model. You don't have to chant Swiss cheese or whatever. But do think about layers and safety and security and what you're doing to set up the layers to catch a problem, even if one part fails. I think if you do that and apply that as a system to whatever it is you're doing, maybe it's law enforcement, maybe it's before you kick in a door, make sure you have the right door. Because that has happened, right? Take a second for safety and think about ways you can layer your safety. And I think that will help you be safe out there. That's what we're really shooting for. That's about all I got. Thanks for coming out.